Hey, happy day 805 of What's You Up To Now. Actually, Easter Sunday. Happy Easter to all of those that celebrate Easter, me included. I usually celebrate Easter. This year, it's going to be probably a lot more like my Christmas was. I actually had the flu over Christmas, and I don't know what kind of flu it was, but I definitely was sick as a dog over Christmas and sprawled out on the couch for the entire day. Didn't go anywhere, didn't do anything, didn't see anybody. Talked to people on the phone for briefly because I didn't feel good enough to even really visit with people on the phone. That was about it. So I think that was my practice run for Easter this year with the COVID-19 virus and all of us being physically separated. It's looking like another holiday where we're all kind of celebrating at our own houses, and we'll call and talk to each other, and maybe somebody will bring me a plate of food, but that's about it. That's how it's going to be this year. We're not out of the woods yet with this virus. We're not out of the woods, and I love this expression, out of the woods, because it implies that we're in possible danger. We're not necessarily in danger just because we're in the woods, but it seems mysterious and dangerous. And doesn't COVID-19 feel mysterious and dangerous to all of us? Yeah, of course it does. Our world is different than it's ever been in my lifetime, and it's different than I hope it's ever been or ever will be in my lifetime. But that doesn't mean that we haven't had experiences that have prepared us for parts of what we need to deal with as we're going through this situation. Our life is all about our experiences and how we handle them, and every little thing, and we go back and we look at the things that have prepared us for what we're going through now, and that's how we navigate and we get through things that are new and different, right? And through change is by pulling from our toolbox of past experiences and saying, okay, well, yeah, this isn't exactly the same as anything I've been through before, but I've been through a whole lot of stuff before, so I know I can figure this out too. And as long as we're telling ourselves that, we'll be fine. We'll get through this too. I love the expression out of the woods, and of course that was my Supersize Your Business topic, and my idiom for today was talking about the expression out of the woods, and it goes all the way back to the Roman Empire. So it's an expression and a feeling that's been with humanity for a very, very long time. A lot of times it has to do with talking about if we're still in a dangerous situation, or if somebody is getting better or finding their way, but they're not there yet. It has a way of describing if we're illnesses, somebody that's been in an accident or in surgery or something, or hasn't had an illness like COVID-19. We'll say, hey, they're getting treatment, but they're not out of the woods yet, which means we don't really know exactly which way it's going to go. And that's just the level of uncertainty, right? And aren't we all living with massive uncertainty at this time? Each of us individually, there's always uncertainty with our lives and with the experiences that we have on an individual basis, but seldom is there this massive influx of so many people in an uncertain situation simultaneously. When there's weather events like tsunamis and hurricanes and tornadoes, there's a cluster of people that are in the woods and uncertain and at risk, but it's usually not the entire world, the entire planet like we're going through right now. And so that brings all kinds of differences and changes, and not just bad things, right? It brings with it a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of opportunities for us to be who we're meant to be, right? To develop and learn and grow and challenge ourselves and ask ourselves, are we on the right path? Some of us have had opportunities in the past, what we thought were really bad things happened to us in the past, that actually helped us to change the course and the trajectory of our lives. And this is a massive global changing of human beings' trajectory and the way that we are going to go and be moving forward. And I, for one, will say it's a good thing, because I personally believe that the planet and humanity needed a wake-up call. Now, I'm not saying we needed a pandemic, for goodness sake. I'm not saying I needed a sudden cardiac arrest to turn my life around, but I personally did need a sudden cardiac arrest to turn my life around, because there was nothing else but a dead stop that was going to cause me to get off the path that I thought I should be going down. Even though every sign and everything that was going on in my life personally at that time was a scream in my face that I was going down the wrong road and I was doing my life wrong. For me, took me a sudden cardiac arrest for me to give myself permission to say, okay, stop. All this stuff you're doing, it's not working for you. You, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom, need to go a different direction. And I kind of feel like that's what's going on in the world right now on a global scale. The world's having this massive illness, or this massive shutdown, this massive stop, dead stop, literally a dead stop. A lot of industries, a lot of businesses are dead stop, shut down right now. If you've got a business that's shut down, you know exactly what I'm talking about and exactly how it feels. And we can look at this as a dead stop and the end, and we can die and give up, or we can say, all right, this happened. Whoa, what am I going to do about it? What can I do about it? What will I do about it? What could I do about it? And we're scared. It's scary, right? Change is always scary. But we can also feel the fear and do it anyway. I love that. I love the word courage, because courage isn't about not being afraid. Courageous people are as afraid as all the rest of us, right? Everybody on the planet feels fear. I don't care who you are. Everyone in this human being condition at some time is afraid of or feels fear over something. And you feel the fear, but you take a step toward what you want anyway, right? I remember how afraid I was to do my very first Facebook Live. Now, there's a lot of people afraid to do any kind of live video, right? And it's a very common fear. It's like the fear of public speaking. They did a study, and I don't remember who it was, but there was a scientific study, and more people were afraid of speaking up and talking in public than dying. And maybe that's because death is inevitable and there's no way any of us are going to get out of it. So we're all going to die no matter what, but all of us can choose whether we're going to speak up or not, whether we're going to use our voice, whether we're going to show up or not, or talk, right? We don't have to talk. We can just fade into the background and never say or do anything. We can just exist and go through our lives. And that will keep us safe. Our subconscious will keep us safe that way. But none of us are getting out of dying. Every single one of us are going to someday, this body's going to expire and we're going to be done. We just don't know. And that's the interesting thing about this pandemic. Every one of us have always been in the same exact situation that we're in right now, in terms of being uncertain and not knowing when we're going to die, right? None of us actually knows when our expiration date is and when we're going to die or what we're going to die of. And that's as it should be, right? We don't want to know. Would have I behaved and done things differently if I would have known that I was going to have a sudden cardiac arrest and die at 50? I like to think that I would have, but chances are I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have known, right? I probably would have just lived my life more in fear than less in fear, and I would have taken less risks and done less things, and maybe I would have gotten on the right road and I wouldn't have had that experience, but who knows? We'll never know. So out of the woods. We're not out of the woods yet, but you know what? The truth is, we've never been out of the woods. We've always been in this precarious, uncertain situation where we've had to do it anyway. We've had to step forward, decide what we want, and move toward it anyway. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about today. Day 12 of the Get Up and Go Challenge, the whole month of April, I'm doing a free challenge for people that, and mostly business people, because that's who I work with, that either their business is shut down or it's just exploding and they don't know what to do, but something that you can do every single day to guarantee that you'll be at least 10 times better off at the end of April than you were at the beginning of April. And it's just a step-by-step process that makes sure that we do what we can do, right? Do what we can do with what we've got right now to move forward and be progressing. And part of the biggest challenge I think a lot of us are facing is this dead stop means that we're not progressing or moving forward as humans. And as human beings, we have a need to move forward. We have a need to progress and have momentum and feel like we're going somewhere. And when we don't have that, we lose hope. We get hopeless and we get stuck and procrastinate and we get into this downward spiral. So to make sure we're in an upward spiral, we do something every day to help us feel like we're making progress. And challenges are an awesome way to give people the sense of accomplishment and making progress. So every day we have a little action item and we do it. And today it was all about, all right, you pick the one thing that you can do, so you're just going to take one step toward it. One step toward it. You're not going to do the whole thing. You're just going to take one little action and step toward it. And guess what? When you accomplish that one step, and you do that one step, oh my gosh, you see all kinds of other steps. And so you're like, okay, well, I did that. That took way less time than I thought it was going to. What's next? And you just keep asking yourself, what's next? What's next? What's next? And then, is it moving me toward the thing I want? And if it is, you just keep taking steps. And all of a sudden, what you thought would be 100 steps, it turns out it only takes you 10 steps to get there. And so you start to get momentum and you're making progress. And we're making progress every day, which is one of the biggest, most important things we can do right now to reduce our feeling of uncertainty. If we're making progress, we're certain that we're moving toward what we want, it eliminates that feeling of uncertainty. So working on that today. Fun challenge today was a good one. It was all about, I can't remember, it was something about gratitude. Oh, what are you grateful for in these times, that you were born in these times instead of other times? Can you imagine, and maybe you're not old enough to, but can you imagine what this pandemic situation that we're in right now would be like if it even happened 10 years ago? How about 20 years ago? 30 years ago. Now I've been around 60 years, so I can't imagine what it would have been like even 10 years ago, much less further ago than that, because we are living in such an incredible technological time that much of our world is still moving on. Even if you're one of the millions of people that are out of business because your business is shut down or have lost your job, we are still in a much better off situation and time than we ever would have been in history. So that's a really cool thing to look at and way to look at it and then be grateful for. If I can help you in any way, I know it's Easter, but I don't care, ask in the comments below. Please, I might not know the answer, but I can hook you up with somebody that does, or something that does, or help you to decide what is the next thing that you can do right this minute. What is something you can do, no matter what you're feeling, no matter what your situation is. I guarantee with 100% certainty that there is something that you can do, right, to move you forward, to reduce your uncertainty and help you with the feeling of making progress and making progress toward what you want and how you want this to shake out for you, because it's going to be up to each and every one of us to individually decide how this is going to shake out for us and how this whole situation, this global pandemic, is going to change our lives and impact us, because it's already impacted us, but we get to decide what does it mean for us and how are we going to take this experience that we're having on a global level and make it work for us instead of against us. Have an amazing day, and I will be with you tomorrow.